This is our second question of the evaluation. How does your media product represent particular social groups?
Yeah. So, in terms of age, we wanted the protagonist to be a young teenager, and we wanted that because we believe that teenagers are not experienced enough and they're curious about everything in life overall. So they're more likely to get into drugs. Yeah. And how we did this, well, we set up a pink room for her. Also, the language and the subject of the main character and her friend reveal that she's younger. And, for example, she cares about her appearance when she goes out. She's discussing her night out with her friend. She's also not married, so all this could show that she's
a teenager.
She's a teenager, yeah.
Yeah. So let's also talk about the gender and why we wanted to have a female as a main character.
Yeah.
We wanted to follow the stereotypes of female being weaker and more emotional and more vulnerable. Yeah, in certain situations, like for example, girls are usually the ones getting attacked.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have shown this by having the girl in a location which implies danger. For example, when the possibility of her dropping on the river.
Yeah.
More because she was on drugs and you could have seen it. So it implies more expectations, bad expectations about.
Yeah, and also people who take drugs are more likely to drop in the water rather than people who are actually
okay, of course, they don't know what they do, so it's like. And then we have also showed it by making her have ripped tights and smash makeup, and this symbolizes that she's in a bad situation and she's emotionally unstable.
Yeah. As our antagonist, we chose a tall, white and dark-haired guy. We wanted him to wear a hoodie because usually the way a person dresses represents different social groups. So in this case, the antagonist is dressed in a way that expresses his status, and it could relate him with a delinquent or a person that experiments antisocial personality, which relates him to a person that goes against the norms of society by committing a crime or being violent.
Hiding his face, it's also a way of making him look more suspicious.
Yeah.
And also his age is not clearly identified, which one calls, because we can hardly see his face. Yeah. So by the way that he dresses, and he looks like a young adult.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is a way of relating him with people in society that are seen dangerous and create more suspicions and tension at the moment that he's walking behind the girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of ethnicity, we chose a white girl to play the main role, and we used the stereotype of a teenager who follows the westernized fashion and lifestyle.
Yeah.
Movies usually use as a stereotype white girls because since long ago they have been having more freedom than other ethnic groups. But we did not want to challenge the stereotype, so we followed what is usually seen in more British society.
Western societies,
Yeah.
So let's talk about the class and status as well. It's not really clear. I think it could be for everyone because usually related to drugs and parties, everyone is related to drugs and parties.
It could be anyone, middle, upper, lower class. It could be any. It could be any person that could get addicted to drugs. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the drug that we use is more expensive, which could relate maybe to middle class, working middle class. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it also is not for example, for very low class, it's not very. They don't really afford to pay this kind of drugs.
Yeah, they
usually will go for something else. And the way that the girl dresses and the other girl and her room also indicates that she's not in a bad situation.
Yeah, she's not poor, but she's not very rich. So.
But we will relate this with many social groups, to be honest, and many class and status.
About sexuality, we wanted our main character to be just an ordinary girl that any girl out there could relate to, and so we chose her to be just straight because the majority of the teenagers are straight.